Welcome back, guys and girls. We're going to finish up chapter 11. This is the 7th section. While I go over your homework, I want you to be thinking about this question. What type of fuel do you use to heat your house? That is a legitimate question. If you live in Bellwood, you probably use one type of fuel. If you live on the outskirts of Bellwood, like in Annis Township, you may use something different. So we'll come back to that here momentarily. Let's go to the 8 questions that you guys had for homework the other day. What are the first populations to change in a succession on land? The first ones to change are going to be your pioneer plants. That's what's going to start succession, so they're the first ones. What might cause succession to occur? A rainstorm, a forest fire, black bears feeding, or us, the Blue Devils. Well, of course, a forest fire is one of the most common ways of having succession occur. What happens in a shrubland stage of succession? Well, in a shrubland, you have bushes and shrubs. Bushes and shrubs push out the grasses is the answer for that one. The climax community is the last stage in succession. How is the lake succession different from the succession of an open field? In this one, it should be the first one here. A lake can fill with sediment and become a field. We talked about this. If you want to keep your lake like they do with Glendale or like they do with Racetown, they will dredge the sediment out of the bottom over time. Is the climax community the same everywhere? No. Different climates will change the plant life in an area. If you lived in Kansas, Oklahoma, you've got grasslands. If you lived in Costa Rica, you've got very, very warm all the time. You get the tropical rainforest. That's the climax there. Suppose a maple beech forest burns. Why is it that maples and beeches are not the first community to grow in succession? This one is pioneer plants will grow first. They are smaller, they grow faster, and they don't need the soil. Trees grow really slow. The harder the tree, typically the slower it grows. Besides fire, what other events can cause succession to begin? Deforestation, volcano, landslide. That one is D, all of the above. Let's get into your notes. All right, did you talk about what type of fuel you use? In my house in Bellwood, we use natural gas. There are places on the outskirts of Bellwood that use fuel oil. They have it delivered by truck. There are still some places that use wood and other places around that still use coal. Not as many. I grew up in Glendale. There were a lot more houses in Glendale that burned coal, where they had all of the coal mines there in Glendale. So we're going to talk about renewable and non-renewable resources. Coal, oil, natural gas are non-renewable. It takes millions of years to make them. People who burn wood to heat their house, that is a renewable energy. We'll talk about that today. You guys have some reading on 270 and 271. The questions on 271 will be the assignment then. There's a picture someone sent me of stages of succession. Let's get into this now. What are natural resources? Living things use things from nature. You know, I've seen little videos of river otters taking rocks and cracking open clams with them. They actually will use the rock like a hammer. Technically, the rock is a natural resource for the otter. We use rocks too. Natural resources are things that we take from nature and use for some purpose. Air and water are natural resources. We drink the water. We use it for boats. We use it for all kinds of things. We use it for growing our crops. Air has to be pure enough for us to breathe. Other types of natural resources: oil, coal, natural gas, trees. A big type of natural resource that's coming along in this area is the wind. The wind that we have all kinds of windmills popping up on the mountains around Bellwood. Those windmills are caused to capture the kinetic energy of the wind. The wind is caused by the warming and cooling of the ocean currents, causing air currents to move. So basically, a windmill is actually getting its energy from the sun that was absorbed by the ocean, causing the wind to move. Renewable resources can be reused or replaced. Air, water, soil, and living things. As long as those resources are used in moderation. Pennsylvania had an eastern population of elk. Well, guess what? They overhunted the eastern elk and it went extinct. That is overuse of a natural resource that should have been renewable but is not. So you can actually overabuse these renewable resources and force them into non-renewable. Non-renewable resources, no matter what, cannot be replaced. Oil, coal, natural gas, minerals like copper, gold, platinum, titanium. Once they are used up and gone, they're gone. It takes millions and millions and millions of years to make oil, coal, and natural gas. Most experts think we may have about 50 to at the most 100 years of oil, coal, and natural gas left on Earth, and then it will be all gone, and we better have figured something else out. Speaking of figuring something else out, conservation is the wise use of resources. It can be making sure that we don't overfish, making sure we don't overhunt, making sure we don't deforest more than we can. It could be making sure you turn the lights off when you're done. It can be making sure that we use LED light bulbs instead of the old incandescent light bulbs. LED light bulbs run on about 2% the electricity of the old incandescent light bulbs that run on a coil. Making sure that we are using our resources properly will make them last as long as possible. This is conservation. All right, is it renewable or non-renewable? You're going to hold up one finger if it's renewable, 2 fingers for non-renewable. Like, peace out, it's going. Okay, here we have a wind farm. Is wind farm renewable or is it non-renewable? Take a couple seconds and think. All right, put your fingers up. A wind farm is renewable. This is water. Is water renewable or is water non-renewable? Take a second and think. Water is renewable. Water has been cycling on Earth for literally millions and billions of years. That is a tree. Is a tree renewable or non-renewable? Did you think about it? A tree is renewable. That is what copper looks like when you drill it out of the ground. Is copper renewable or non-renewable? Think about it. Copper is non-renewable. Someday we'll run out of copper. We don't know when, but the harder it is to find, the more expensive the copper becomes. You know what this is? That's an oil rig. That is how they pump oil out of the ground. Is oil renewable or is oil non-renewable? Yeah, oil's non-renewable. That's some deer. That's actually a mule deer. Are deer renewable or are deer non-renewable? Deer are renewable as long as we use good conservation and don't shoot them all. That is coal. Is coal renewable or non-renewable? Coal is non-renewable. All right, boys and girls, we're good. Make sure you do the reading on 270 and 271. Get your questions done. There are 2 video clips that I would like you to watch on renewable and non-renewable resources. I'll see you next time. Thanks and have a good day.